Thank you, Rachel. Well, hello, everybody. We are going to proceed with the next stage. I'm a bit exercised about all these pebbles at the bottom of the picture. The obvious answer is to splatter on some masking fluid. But I ain't got no masking fluid, so I'm going to have to do something else. I don't really want to put them all on with gouache afterwards, so I'm going to use a candle. I think I'll use the pointy end. I'm going to cut the wick off. There we are, to give me the point on the candle, and I'm going to put marks on here. I'm just drawing little lines with some of them bigger than others. Not quite sure how many are taking, or indeed how many I want in the picture. I'm not sure I want to put the water in. I think that might be a bridge too far, too much activity in the picture. You just got to be patient and do it. The same thing with masking fluid, actually. You can squirt it on, which works quite nicely, but you really should be quite careful how you're doing it when you're putting it on, because it does influence what is actually seen afterwards. Right, we'll leave it at that for the moment. And what I'll do, just to not the blue. I'll take a bit of the umber and just bring it down over here so as I can see what I've got as far. There we are. So it is beginning to show a few spots and things. I think I can take the colour over here too. Do I want to? Do I want to? Maybe I don't. This is coming down here. And bring it over here. Now I'm going to add a bit of green to that. So I've got some viridian, and I'm adding the umber to it, making a piece of paper. This will do. Well, more or less all right. So we'll put in a bit of the green here. I want to darken this down here because I have plans for that bit. I'm intending to scratch that out a bit. So again, if I put it in fairly dark, come on, dark is what I said. Dark is more paint, less water. So I keep telling everybody, more paint, less water. Now I can go in here again with splotches of the paint to splotch it off a bit, because this is fairly splotchy around here, isn't it? And there's another of those things there. just drift it in over here. So that might be too intense, it might not. We'll see how we get on as we proceed. Right, now while I've got fairly thick paint, I'm going to put in the rest of this branch here. I only put the shadow in last time. And that goes. This actually faded quite a lot, so I'm going to put that in again and allow it to run up, make it darker. There we are. And the other thing I want to do while I'm working with fairly loose washes is to put a bit of green on some of this area at the back, because that line is too definite and it sort of cuts the picture in half. So the branches up above were part of the story. And I'm not going to put it on all of it, but I am putting it on some of it, more towards the outside here. Remembering to take it across behind the branch, because otherwise it looks a bit cob. Looks as if the branch is actually holding up the traffic, and that's not how you want it to be. And since we're doing it, let's take a little care to do that a bit more carefully. So I haven't actually put anything down there. I've just darkened it a little and made it a little bit greener. I'm going to do the same on this side. It's not repainting it so much as suggesting that that green line isn't quite as definite as it appears to be. Where you get precise, let's make it precise. And perhaps make it a little bit darker here. So it actually has a bit more form. Sorry, I'm muttering again. My apologies. Yeah, I think that'll sort of helped. Right, that's a bit better. We can do something with this. Put in a few dark marks here. That'll all come a lot better when I start to put the stripy bits in. Oh, look what's happened here! Isn't that nice? I like that. Those are run backs. The paint I put on was too wet and it's caused little runbacks. I think it's rather nice. So I think I'm going to leave that. I think I'm going to take out the back colour here. I think it's calling attention to itself a little bit. Now then, what can I do about that? Thanks. I'm getting a bit too much. I think I'll take some of that colour out there. I'm going to blot it off. I don't normally do that, but I think it's just got a little bit too adventurous. I think that needs to be darker there. Closer in tone, basically what I'm asking it to be, so that there's a colour variation, but otherwise we keep the yeah. I don't want to make this too exciting, which is what I've done at the moment, because it takes the eye off the log, which is where the drama of the situation is. Right. So we'll add a bit more to the log, I think. If I put in tiny striations on the log, there are just little areas where the battered old log is well, showing its age really, a little bit more battered. And this has got quite a nice warm tone to it here, where I've actually blued it. So I think if I bring that down there, I'm going to introduce a bit of the purple. That needs to be even darker than it is, I think. That part there. Yeah. I don't think I can get it much darker up there. It's practically black as it is. But I think the change there is too sudden. So maybe if I just make it a little bit less southern there. I think also there it's much darker, the back end there. Playing on with the contrast really. I'll heighten that there. I don't want it quite so sudden as that, so I've rinsed the brush. Dry the brush and take the paint back towards itself a little bit. That shows up a lot better. I'm still being too nervous down here. Part of the problem is, I think, that I haven't got the ground there dark enough to start with. The ground over here isn't dark enough either, but it's a different colour. When it's dry, before it's dry, I take some of my really dark, which is the umber, the purple, and I'll throw in a bit of Prussian blue. Well done, thank you. This has definitely got to come up here. It's definitely very much darker there. And the trouble is, every time I do it, well, I'll leave that bit. See if I can. Now we're cooking. That's a bit better. Yeah, right. Stop fiddling with that and see what you're going to do about this, because this is problematic. I don't think that's the right colour there. I think I probably need a warmer colour, so I'm going to use the burnt sienna. Take it over there. I think I'll put it over here too. Just sort of maybe even bring a bit down here. It's round about now, I think. I think what I'll do is tear it up and start again. But I'm not going to do that. Let's see. And of course, it's wet down here, so what I'm doing isn't going to stay crisp. It's going to be blurred. Well, some of these areas here have got dark marks, and you can go around the little waxy bits that have been left to create more of a look of those stones. As we come closer, those were greeny marks. I'm going to turn to the umber and make more umber marks. She's still resisting in places, which is rather nice. Right, I'm slowly getting there. Trying to make the stones flow all this way. And one of the problems with painting, taking so long to paint the picture, is that you get hung up on doing one particular thing. So if I was doing the whole picture in the 2.5 hours, it would be altogether different. I'd tackle it differently, it would turn out differently. However, you get different things for not all the little stones have to be. Right, over here, they're a bit bigger, aren't they? Let's see what we can make out of these. Much more fiddly than I normally do, but it's nice to fiddle sometimes. I'm trying not to draw around them. I'm just trying to find out what shapes are there and make other shapes out of them. And where the greenery is a bit more definite in places.
10 minutes.
Gosh, is that all? I always think I've got hours, and it never works out that way. Right, so I'm not going to finish it this time, that's real. Yeah. I'll just proceed with this. I think Round about here, the grass is. Well, it's really showing up some of the candle marks there, which are rather nice. And one of the things about putting in lumps of grass is that you've got to create depth. See, that's got no depth. It's got shape, but it's got no depth. It needs a bit of contrast, so that you're actually constructing the grassy bits by introducing different tones. Of course, if you're painting in oils, you can introduce the lights as well as the darks. A bit more difficult with watercolor. It's not impossible, but it's a bit more difficult with watercolor. Right, I'm thinking. I think I'm going to take that out. Don't like that at all. If I take it out now, I can put it back next week on. Right, for my scrubbing brush. Right, take it out. Brilliant. I don't mind that bit. Take the scrubbing brush. See, I was able to do that because the colours I used were lifting colours pretty well anyway. Don't like the top line there. That's going to have to change. There we are. Right, that's gone now. That's going to have to dry before I do anything else to it. So that's work in progress. But I think it'll be altogether better if I can put that piece of broken twig, part of the tree, I think, in with a better line to it. And next week I'll also scratch out these areas to give more of the striations that we want. But while I've got the paint here, definitely going to make that darker there. Maybe they're a little bit too bright. So just go over. That will greatly improve when I scratch out the scratchy bits. Actually, not bad. Not the best progress in the world, but I've made some progress. And by taking that out, leaves me with a dry space next week to make a bit more of that particular lump of rock, a lump of tree, because it's actually bang in the middle of the picture. But I think the tree trunk itself is more rounded now. And we've got something here which actually doesn't look too bad, considering I didn't have any masking fluid to make more of it. So I'm quite pleased with that. Right, there we are, folks. That's that for this week. Next week will be the last one for the summer, when I'll finish off this picture. And then we'll start again in September, either online, or both online and in the classroom, depending on what we're able to arrange. But Rachel and I will have time to think about that. I'm giving you notice, Rachel.
So I gather.
Yeah. So there we are. That's it for this week.
Are you definitely not putting the water in, Steve?
I'm definitely not putting the water in. I think it would be one bridge too many.
Right.
On my picture. It might work on your picture, Margaret, because yours isn't mine, if you see what I mean.
Right. Okay.
I would actually, what I will do is take a view when I've got this, with the things scratched out, and perhaps some more work done up here. I might put the water in then, but I don't think I will. I don't think I want the water in.
How many colours have you used altogether, Steve?
I've just used burnt umber, Prussian blue, raw sienna, burnt sienna, and purple.
Right.
That's it.
And
Pardon?
Viridian.
And Viridian.
And Viridian. Yes. Right. Yeah.
Yes, black and wax of Viridian. I'm working on an idea when I can use Viridian neat. What I could use Viridian neat for.
Malachite. Malachite.
Yeah, I realise malachite, but you know, how often do you paint malachite? It's quite a colour, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's going to have to be somebody's shirt. I don't think I'm going to be able to. Although some tarpaulins are that colour, aren't they?
And some seasoned copper.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes.
But never solid. There's always something in it, isn't there?
Copper root.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm.
It's sort of spotty. If you use it with salt, you'd probably get the verdigris look, wouldn't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Mm.
We are about to be cut off in our prime.
Right. See you next
So
week.
everyone
Steve.
wave
Thank you.
frantically, and I will
Bye.
end the meeting.
Bye.